Hi, this is Blake Huntington with Streamline Ag, and today I'm with Storby Seed. They're a distributor for us, and today we're going to kind of talk about the next pass in corn, and that right now we're setting up, we're around V6, V7, some plants V8, maybe some a little bit behind that, but the wide drop pass or side dress passes in corn. And I'm going to have Erik kind of talk about where we've been, where we're sitting at right now, and where we're kind of looking at, because things have really shaped up well here, north central Iowa, southern Minnesota. We have a pretty dang good looking crop. We're in a pretty hot time right now, pretty stressful time. Although all things considered, we look very, very sharp as a whole. Some areas have caught more rain than others, and with some luck here in the next couple days, we might catch some more, and we'll be off to the races. So Erik will kind of have you segue what we see.
Yeah, I think if you think about where we started, the corn did not look great out of the ground,
Yeah.
right? It was cold, it was dry. A lot of that corn probably sat in the ground for 15 days, up to 20 days. And then it just didn't see a lot of sun right away. It
No.
turned that kind of ugly yellow color. But fast forwarding to today, we got some heat, we got some moisture. It's looking a lot better. And if we just think about what's happening physiologically at this stage, at this V6 stage, obviously the one visual thing people talk about is the growing point is above ground. So if we do have some kind of mechanical damage to the base of that plant, you know, it's not going to be growing back. So that's one thing to think about. But probably more important for us as producers is all of the reproductive things that are happening.
Yep.
So we can't see all this happening right now, but already the ear is initiating, the tassel is initiating, and by this stage we've already determined the kernels around that ear.
Yep.
So a lot of big things are happening at this stage already.
Absolutely. So we think about, okay, you think about the corn plant's life and kind of where we started and where we're going and where we're at today. With commodities the way they've been, some guys might have cut a little bit back on nutrients up front to maybe add some in season. And this is now a really great time to be thinking about some additional products. And these can range from very, very cheap to a little bit more expensive, but they all serve the same purpose. And we don't think of it as an add-on, it's more so a reallocation of where some of these funds are going to be more efficient and proficient in this plant's life. So I think about some simple things, and we'll let Erik elaborate on a couple of these. Real simple one to add in with this shot would be humic, or what Storby Seed sells here is HF12 essentially. And Erik, what is really humic doing when you're mixing that in with your nitrogen here at this time?
Yeah, essentially the humic acid is going to be like organic matter.
Yep.
It's going to be dissolved organic matter. It's going to have a lot of positive, negative charges on it.
Yep.
The biggest benefit in this wide drop pass is going to be the natural nitrogen stabilization. It's going to be holding that nitrogen in the root zone. We all know nitrogen is very susceptible to leaching.
Yep.
And it's going to be holding it in that ammonium form, holding it in the root zone, making it available to that plant when it needs it.
Absolutely. And then, another simple one, and this is something that's pretty standard now in practice, but I mean, it's maybe up in that sulfur a little bit more ATS in this pass. Sulfur is a big crucial nutrient right now and very underutilized, considering what the need is for a 250 bushel plant and how volatile this nutrient can be, especially when soil applied. I mean, we're looking around that 40-ish pounds it takes to produce a 250 bushel crop. And that's a simple thing to add in, and it's pretty common nowadays, but something maybe to consider. I mean, you can up that rate, or at least don't back down on that rate right now when you're doing that wide drop pass. And then it kind of leads me in my next one, and I'll have Erik go a little bit more in depth with this. Boron. Why is boron important right now?
So boron, usually that's a reproductive nutrient. So not a lot in the vegetative stages, but usually we're talking about reproductive growth. So the silks, the tassels, all those things helps with cell elongation. When we get into grain fill, it's going to help with that. Boron, one of those nutrients where it's very leachable. So
Yep.
nitrogen leachable, sulfur leachable. Boron's even worse than both of those. So that's usually a nutrient we need to think about applying if you want to see a good response to your crop. And at this stage, when all those reproductive structures are initiating, that's a good shot to throw in.
Absolutely. And then it kind of leads me to my next point. And this can work with guys that, they had a build program or they had a maintain program on their dry fertility, their P&K, and other micronutrients, or guys that maybe cut back a little bit this year because they want to kind of see how things were looking, and maybe we're looking for an opportunity in season to add some things. So big nutrients I think about right now, potassium, okay? Where we live, we have high make soils for the most part. That restricts and limits potassium uptake, essentially. So another thing that we're kind of looking at is potassium is a great stress mitigator. It helps promote roots. And right now, if you look at it, we're taking up 40 to 50% of our potassium between that V8 and kind of that R1 time frame. So it's an excellent time to kind of bypass, especially if you're dry and you look good, which we do right now. We can kind of bypass that soil mineralization process or any tie-up potential in the soil and kind of apply that directly to that plant for rapid uptake. Again, this follows the same pattern as potassium. Potassium probably being the big major. Phosphorus. Everyone's like, well, what do you mean phosphorus? Lots of soil tests, or lots of tissue test data backing this, and lots of university research kind of backing this. And this is really my first year kind of playing with it a little bit, is applying foliar or banding potassium in these side dress passes or in a later foliar application. 50% of that phosphorus uptake is happening between V6 and VT. Okay, that's a pretty big window there. That helps with root growth, elongation, helping with reproduction, strengthening that. It's a good stress mitigator. One thing that we will offer here at Storby Seed as well is we are more than willing to come and take tissue samples for you. There's some, and a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, we're just going off that natural uptake curve chart of what these plants are uptaking at these times. So if we look good, which we do, and we have an opportunity to bypass this at a pretty effective cost to make sure that this is actually getting into the plant and not worrying about what's happening in the soil necessarily at this time if we are dry, this is an excellent way to add those nutrients, especially on situations where we maybe cut back a little bit on the front side. We look good. We need to finish this race. We're maybe halfway to second base right now. We still got to get all the way home. So this is just a step in the process. The last one I'll bring up, and this is kind of exclusively through some of our providers, is in the P application. Along with that, we can also add in some enzymes. These would be a lipase enzyme and the phosphatase enzyme. And these are not live organisms, but these are helping fix nutrients in the soil, breaking out complex carbons, making it into more soluble carbons, so that you have better nutrient uptake in that soil as well during this time. Last thing I want to touch on, because we seem to be deficient in this a lot, zinc. You know, a lot of our zinc, believe it or not, is getting uptaken between V6 and VT, roughly 50% of it. So banding some zinc, even adding some zinc, we're seeing very good beneficial responses for that. It's an excellent tool with nitrogen assimilation, stress mitigation, overall health of the plant. So we gave you a laundry list of things, and these range from very cheap to, I mean, it can get a little bit more expensive, and there's a lot of stuff kind of in that middle road there. The way we look right now, guys, this is not time to back off of this crop. We need to make sure that we are keeping this thing looking good, because right now we are set up very well. Mother Nature helps us out a little bit here. We're going to be looking at a pretty good crop. Again, this is Streamline Ag with Storby Seed. Thanks for listening.